Meanwhile, the partisan dispute over the FISA memo and alleged government surveillance abuse was given new life when Senators Grassley and Graham released their declassified criminal referral for the author of the so-called dirty dossier. Details in that letter reveal more about how the FBI and the Justice Department allegedly used research compiled by a former British spy that they say is mostly still unverified to carry out surveillance on a former Trump campaign advisor. Joining me now to weigh in is former Trump campaign manager and current chief strategist for America First Action, Corey Lewandowski. Great to see you tonight, Corey.
It's great to be with you. Thank you.
Okay, so we're getting a bigger picture and a fuller picture of exactly what's being alleged behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the underlying investigations continue, and I want to give you a chance to respond to the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee who says you're not showing up as he thought was planned. He said this yesterday. He said yesterday the committee was informed by counsel for Corey Lewandowski that he would be refusing to reappear before the committee to testify any further, despite an earlier pledge to do so. It will therefore be necessary for our committee to now move to compel Lewandowski's testimony, among other outstanding steps needed to advance the investigation. How do you respond?
Well, my response is very simple. I voluntarily appeared in front of the House Select Committee on Intelligence. I sat and answered questions for 8 hours. I offered to answer any questions they had, and what I did is I sent a letter back. And, you know, what happened is during that testimony that I provided, which should have been in public but was behind closed doors, they took continuous breaks, and Adam Schiff and his colleagues went out and leaked all of the information that I sat there and provided to the committee. So they have, you know, there is no honor amongst thieves, I guess, but, you know, they took the information that I gave to the committee, which ultimately could be public, and they released it for their own edification. And what I said was, look, I'll be happy to answer your questions. And what Congressman Schiff is not telling the American people, and I'll be happy to do it right here, is the questions that they had that I did not answer during that time, I submitted written answers to in the letter saying I didn't think I had to reappear after spending over 8 hours answering their questions.
Do you think he's being disingenuous?
I think he's a very disingenuous man. Yes, I do.
Do you think that the memos that have been released, both by the House Intel Committee, the majority, and also the memos that we've seen from Senators Grassley and Graham have painted the full picture, or would you also support the release of the Democratic memo now sitting, we understand, with the president for his consideration?
Look, if it was my choice, I would say more transparency, the better. I think at this point, you know, we should look at what the FISA application actually entailed that was taken to the court, because it is my understanding that part of that FISA application, which was supposedly somewhere between 60 and 90 pages long, contained information that was put in from the fake dossier. And if that is the case, there needs to be accountability, because it's my understanding of the rules of an application for a FISA warrant is there can be no information provided in that application that has not been verified. And if any part of that dossier was used, which we think it was, there should be accountability for the individuals who presented it to a judge.
All right. Your name has come up quite a bit in the last couple of days with respect to the Rob Porter situation, so I want to give you a chance to respond to some allegations. The Daily Beast says this. It says the White House said the story was the product of a smear campaign being orchestrated against Porter by his political enemies. Among those they pinpointed was former Trump campaign manager and current outside advisor to the president, Corey Lewandowski, according to two sources familiar with the conversations. True or false?
No, it's 100% false. Look, I've met Rob Porter probably twice or three times in my life. We had a very nice, cordial conversation. I found him to be a very affable individual. I have no ill will towards Rob, and I wish him and his family the best in these difficult times.
Okay, and one other from Vanity Fair. It says that last night a source said that you called President Trump and urged him to fire General Kelly. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, it's amazing. Look, I didn't speak to the president yesterday or the day before that. So, you know, what happens, it's amazing that reporters, you know, write these stories. Nobody called me to verify it. You know, you can check the White House switchboard or any other information that you can. I didn't speak to the president at all this week. And so, you know, these stories are just false. And look, they want to drag me into it for whatever reason. The truth is, I have nothing to do with what takes place in the White House right now. They have their own issues. I think they could have handled this much better. It's shameful the way that it was done. It should have been done more appropriately, and I think there should be accountability.
All right. Well, Washington is a very interesting place, as you know, these days. Corey Lewandowski, thanks for your time.
Thank you.